Hello, in this video we're looking at the Dhammapada, chapter 10, verse 7, verse 135 in the consecutive numbering. Yatha dandena gopalo gavo pajeti gocharam evanjara chamachucha ayung pajenti parninam. And now with the text up, nearly there, here we are. Yatha dandena gopalo gavo pajeti gocharam evanjara chamachucha ayum pajenti parninam. Yatha, as, just as, the gopalo, the root pal means to protect, and so a gopala is a cow protector, therefore the cowherd. So just as yatha gopalo, the cowherd, dandena, with a stick. Here stick is used in the literal sense of the word. This whole chapter is called the Dandavago, the chapter on the stick, which means chapter on punishment. But here literally, of course, a stick. So just as the cowherd with a stick, or uses a stick, pajeti, gavo pajeti gocharam. Pajeti means he leads or drives on. Gavo, the cows, singular is go, directly cognate with our English word cow, and it makes the plural gavo. You'll find the declension of this word in Sanskrit form at Macdonell 102 and in Perniola at paragraph 28. I've mentioned this in the notes. Gocharam. So the root char, a well-known root char, meaning to move or to go. There are several verbs meaning to go. This is one of them. So the gochara is the cow going, the place where the cow likes to go to, or the place where she can go about in. So it means a pasture. It also means generally one's, by extension, literally the cow going, the place where the cow wants to be, the pasture. And then by extension one's sphere of action. And it's in the accusative here because it's the accusative of motion towards. So the cowherd, the gopalo, gavo pajeti, drives the cows to the gochara. That's why the gochara is in the accusative form here, pajeti gocharam. Now pajeti, we have the verb aj, the verb root aj. It's quite an uncommon verb, actually. Don't see it much at all. And you find it also with the prefix in Sanskrit pra-ajati, so prajati. It's a class 1 verb. In Pali we find it as a class 10 verb, so pajayati or pajeti, so pra-ajeti, pajeti, to drive forward. It's cognate actually with the with the Greek word ago, and from which we get agora, meaning a market in Greek, or an open space generally. It means the place to which animals are driven. Is like a livestock market, the agora, the place you drive the animals to. For it's from that word that we have agoraphobia, meaning fear of open spaces. A much more common word that we have several derivatives in English is the Latin ago agere, which means in Latin it means to do or to act. Ago agere ege actum, and it's from that verb that we have our words like act, action, actor, agent, agenda, all from that same verb meaning to do. Agenda means literally, agenda in Latin means things needing to be done. But in older Latin, it had that same meaning as the Greek ag, meaning to drive, as in to drive animals, to move a herd of animals from one place to the other. So that's we very frequently see that where we have say a j or a ch in Sanskrit and Pali, it turns up as a g or a k in Greek and Latin. So pajeti gocham, so yata dandena, as with a stick, gopalo, the cowherd, gavo pajeti, drives the cows, gocharam, accusative of motion, to the pasture. Evam, evam, meaning thus. Evam me sutam, thus have I heard. We have this yata here as yata, just as, evam, in that way. So, in that way, just as so and so happens, so does something else happen. This evam could equally have been tata, and you often find that yata correlates with tata, but often, you do find yata correlates with evam, yata evam. There's no distinction of meaning. I should say no distinction of meaning that I've been able to discern. Whether it's more emphatic, I doubt it. So you can treat it as exactly as if it were tata, thus. Oops, what have I just done? Oops. So evam, thus, in that same way, jara, that's old age, decay. In fact, jara means more decay rather than old age. It turns up in Greek as meaning old, as in gerontology, geros in Greek, becomes in English gerontology, the science or the study of ancient things, geriatrics, medicine for the aged. It's that same word, jara. Jara to machucha. Machu, that is, we saw it a few verses ago. That is, let me just call up iPad again for you. Here we are. It is machu. Sanskrit mrityu, from our root mri. Note there are two words, well, bound to be more than two. There's mrityu, machu in Pali. There's also marana, which is the same in Sanskrit and Pali. There's both mean death, but there's an overlap in meaning. Mrityu, machu, tends to mean, I say there is an overlap, the boundary isn't absolute. Machu tends to mean death as in the condition of being dead rather than being alive. Whereas marana tends more to mean the process of dying. So when it said maranan dukham, marana is dukkha. It's not being said that the state of being dead is dukkha. What it means there is that the process of dying, marana, is dukkha, is an unpleasant experience. So back to where we were. Evam jara chamachucha. Thus, both old age and death, ayum pajenti, drive life, in the sense of hasten it on. They make them go upon their way to the inevitable end, is the idea. Thus, old age and death drive on life. This word ayu, you'll see I've done a note on it at the bottom of the printed page. It tends to mean, and we've got the other word jivita, life, ayu, life. Jivita, there's an overlap between them. Jivita tends to mean status of being alive rather than being dead. If you lay down your life or abandon your life, you abandon your jivita, you choose death over life, as in battle or laying down your life for somebody else. Ayu tends to mean life in the sense of length of life. And it's from that same ayu that we have, for example, Ayurveda in Sanskrit. Ayurveda. The Ayus Veda becomes Ayurveda by Sandhi, which literally means life science. That's the literal meaning of the word. And we have as an honorific used among monks. You say both avuso and ayasma. They're variants of the same word. It's ayushman in Sanskrit, avuso and ayasma in Pali, meaning "O thou of long life." It's a respectful greeting and can be used among equals. You often find that it's used among equals among the monks. There is one story that after the Buddha attained his enlightenment, he went to see his group of five friends with whom he'd been practicing the austere and holy life for a long time. And when he came upon them, after his enlightenment, the first time he'd seen them after his enlightenment, he came upon them and they started calling him avuso. And then he gently told them off for that. He said, because that's the greeting used between equals or senior to junior. So he told them that they must no longer use that form of greeting for him, because he was no longer their equal. He was now the fully enlightened one. So, paninam, of living beings. We have in our precepts the Parnatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. I undertake the training rule of Veramani, of abstaining from Parnatipata. That's Pana. Now, or Pani Atipata, the killing of living beings. Let me explain that word. There's, call up iPad again. We have the root an, meaning to breathe, and it makes a verbal noun ana, meaning breathing. It's frequently found with the prefix pra. So pra ana, which by sandhi in Sanskrit becomes prana, a word we all know, and that is in Pali prana, meaning breath generally. So prana. So in Sanskrit, with our in suffix, a pranin, and in Pali it is a panin, stem form, means one possessing breath, therefore a breathing being, a living being. This is the consonantal declension, so we get the genitive plural. In Sanskrit it would be praninam. Remember, for the genitive plural of the stems ending in a consonant, you don't add anam or inam, just add am. In Sanskrit with a long a, and in Pali with a short a. So praninam in Sanskrit, paninam in Pali. Do remember the rule that it is in Pali you can never ever have a long vowel before the a final M. It is invariably shortened, and even in poetry that rule is never broken. But a couple of very small exceptions when a vowel follows, but it is rare, and even that's in the later, more Sanskritized form of poetry. But take it as a general rule, it's a praninam in Sanskrit, paninam in Pali. So paninam then means of those with prana, of the pranins, of living beings. So this verse is saying that just as the cowherd will gavopajeti drives the cows gocharam to their pasture, dandena with a stick, evam in that same way, jaracha machucha, both old age and death, ayum pajenti paninam, pajenti they drive. The verb is in the plural, by the way, pajenti, because we've got the subject is jaracha machucha. We've got two nouns there, therefore the verb goes in the plural. So jaracha machucha, old age and death, pajenti drive, ayum the life, paninam of living beings. The imagery is being that just as these cows are helplessly being driven by the cowherd, driven with a stick into the pasture, so our lives are being in that same way helplessly driven by old age and death. So I will read this through again. Yatha dandena gopalo gavo pajeti gocharam evan jaracha machucha ayum pajenti parninam. And once more. Yatha dandena gopalo gavo pajeti gocharam evan jaracha machucha ayum pajenti parninam. That's it on this video.